a wonderful place Disneyland is. Look at all of the happy people wandering around in the Yuletide glory that is Disneyland at Christmas time. It's a sometimes vlog. It's a vlog that happens sometime. Welcome back to Disneyland. It's really quiet over here for some reason. Everyone is being really quiet and trying to run me over. Look. There are feet and strollers everywhere. People are very, very excited. People are holding children. It's because today is a special day. That's probably not why they're holding the children. They're probably holding the children so the children don't get run over by strollers. But it is still, regardless, a very special day today at Disneyland. Let's look at something really quick. Not the ice cream. Ignore the ice cream. Look at the rivers of America and the Mark Twain riverboat. We were just here a few days ago riding the Mark Twain riverboat talking about Mark Twain's birthday. I pointed out the fact that Mark Twain didn't write his first book until he was 34 years old. Until that point he was a drifter, a nomad, a loser. And today is the birthday of another loser who made good, and that person is none other than the man who envisioned all of this. The man responsible for making thousands, millions, even billions of people across the world smile and happy. Walter Elias Disney. I had planned on starting this vlog in the hub near the statue of Walt Disney, but it was too crowded over there and the Christmas parade was going on, so we're going to divert around through the streams of people into Frontierland, because why not? There's nothing like Christmas in the Old West, right? See? Anyway, back to the point. December 5th, 1901. It was a beautiful, glorious day. I have no idea what kind of day it was, but Walter Elias Disney was born in Chicago, Illinois. He then spent much of his young life daydreaming. He apparently was not a very good farmer's assistant on his father's farm in Marceline, Missouri, which I visited this year. We did videos about Marceline, Walter Elias Disney's boyhood hometown, and his father's farm in Marceline. 2 different videos on the main channel, Live Fast Die Poor, /Live Fast Die Poor on YouTube. But he was not very good at that. Instead, he was always drawing. People thought, oh, that's really cool. You're really good at drawing, Walt. But then later, when Walt returned from France after driving an ambulance just after World War I, he tried to make a living as a cartoonist and failed. And then he tried to go do a bunch of other stuff. His dad tried to get him to work for this, a reputable company. Walt wouldn't do it. He would not get a normal job. And as easy as it is to look at his successes now and say, well, Walt was a genius. Everybody knew he was a genius. You know for a fact that all the young ladies he was courting, their mothers were like, come on, this loser? His family was probably like, come on, Walt, when are you going to get a real job? What about your 401k? How are you going to retire, Walt? But no, Walt had something very few people have, which is belief. He believed in himself. Walt was a dreamer. A lot of people want to say Walt wasn't talented. He was very talented and he was very, very creative. But it's sort of beside the point. The biggest thing about Walt Disney was that he was a visionary. He had these big dreams and big plans, and they were constantly evolving, constantly changing. At first, his big vision, his big plan was just animation in general. He really wanted to be an animator. He accomplished that, but his characters were taken away from him twice. Well, several times Walt Disney came up against bankruptcy. He lost characters, he lost companies. I mean, all the way into his young adulthood, everyone had every reason to think, here is this nonsensical, daydreaming, will not settle down and get a real job loser. What the heck is he doing? He should go get a job at McDonald's. Oh, look at this.
What about today?
We're doing a play, a production, and I'm talking. That's kind of rude. Hold on. All right, let's make our way across the bridge. Whoa. Look at all these people enjoying this happy place.
Tell the story right now.
Santa? Okay, to resume. So, everyone had every reason in the world to think of this guy as a loser, but he kept going. His family believed in him, sometimes begrudgingly. A lot of people gave him money to keep his first company, Laugh-O-Gram, afloat. That money, was it wasted? Because Laugh-O-Gram went out of business and those people never got their money back. Was it wasted money? I don't think so. Because Walt Disney learned a lot of valuable lessons, which he packed up into his small cardboard suitcase, hopped on the California Limited, came out to California, and literally had to crash at his uncle's house for a good long period of time, tinkering around at his uncle's job, or garage, trying to get a job anywhere in Hollywood at all the movie studios. Nobody wanted him, not even as a janitor. He got his brother Roy out of a sanitarium, which is a place where he went for tuberculosis, not a place to go when you're crazy. It's a different thing. And he's convinced his brother Roy, please support me. I am going to finish this Alice comedy and I'm going to take over the world and start a studio of my own. And he did. But it wasn't all easy going. Plenty of failures, even as he was preparing to put sound into Steamboat Willie. People were like, you're an idiot, Walt. You're pumping all of your limited resources and borrowing money for this thing that's not going to make a lick of difference. Well, it made a huge difference, not only in the world of animation, but, you know, in terms of what Walt Disney would eventually do. He kept taking all the money they made, and rather than living it up, he kept pumping it back into that company. His animators for years and years made a lot more money in terms of salary than Walt Disney did. So truly a visionary. Of course, he's so legendary that people make all kinds of false negative rumors up about Walt Disney, but any serious research into his history will show there wasn't a lick of darkness in the man. Not that he was perfect, but he was a good guy, Walt Disney. Anyway, the point of the story is it would be really easy to say happy birthday Walt to that statue up there and talk about look at all the people that he made happy, which is true, and look at how successful he was. I think the moral of the story is people around you are probably some visionaries and some daydreamers right now, some losers. Believe in the losers if you can bring yourself to it. And always believe in yourself. Try to get what you want. Shoot for your dreams. You might not achieve them, but here's the thing about dreams is they change constantly. I mean, for me, personally, I always wanted to be a musician. Well, and a director, and a painter, and a writer, and all kinds of different things when I was a kid. I wanted to be a musician. I went out and I did that. Now I am clearly not doing that. I'm doing all kinds of other wacky stuff. You have to stick to your dreams, but you have to allow yourself to let your vision change. A lot of people go out and they want to be a prize fighter or something like that. Then they meet a lady and then their dream is to have a nice family and own a cardboard box manufacturing company. And they do that. It's not what your dream is. The point is that not everybody, I guess the point is, not everybody wants the same kind of life. It would have been a lot easier for Walt Disney to get a job in the roaring 20s, to get some kind of stable job, to go work for somebody else, to have a nice house, live in a nice neighborhood, settle down with a nice gal, and raise some kids like everybody else, and that would have been totally and perfectly fine. But he didn't want that kind of life. Walt Disney wanted to create things, and luckily for him, I mean, he's the one that says it takes people to make the dream a reality. Luckily for him, there were people around him who believed in the loser, pumped not only money but support into his life, and kind of never gave up on him, which allowed him to never give up on the dream. And look at what that turned into. You stop and think. I was talking to my friend Roscoe Soul Train about this one day when he was cutting people's hair, and I was looking out the window, people were waving hi to him. That for the average person to be able to step out of your door and make, say, 100 people smile in one day, 100 people, that's your goal, is to go around and find people, you know them, you don't know them, it doesn't matter. To hit 100 people and make them smile, cheer up their day, is a nearly impossible task for people to do. Some people are able to achieve so much. They can make millions of people smile every day. Think about the magnitude of that. It's almost like saying $1 billion. Oh, it's easy to say $1 billion. It's hard to imagine 1 billion of anything. It's like that. Look at all the smiles he put on people's faces worldwide. And all born out of a loser sitting in his uncle's garage tinkering with things. He got married to a young lady who was helping him at his early Disney Brothers studio out there in Silver Lake, and they lived upstairs in a boarding house for a while. And that's when rent was cheap. So Walt's wife Lillian even had to believe in the dream and suffer through a lot of lean years where they may or may not lose the house. Even when he was about to build Disneyland, he was a very successful, what would you say, entertainment tycoon. He was still mortgaging his own houses and selling his second house in Palm Springs just to be able to bankroll this crazy dream, which people thought would maybe be a fun thing to have around for a year for that TV show, and it would be gone. Walt Disney knew differently. He knew he was going to change the face of entertainment, and he has changed a lot of faces from frowns to smiles. So a pretty fantastic thing, a pretty inspirational, big, giant figure in my own life, growing up in the shadow, literally almost, of Disneyland. I have always respected the man who is able to make this many people happy. What a cool thing. I know there's a lot of people who would say that that's not a big deal, right? Oh yeah, making people happy and they're spending all their money on expensive sodas there at Disneyland. What a waste of time. Mickey Mouse sweater, that's not the real stuff of life. Most people go to work, they come home, they go to sleep, they go to work, they come home, they go to sleep, they go to work. It is the little things, it's the trip to Disneyland, it's that movie they watch with their family at nighttime. That is the good stuff in their life. So I would not call it useless. I would say the cynical people are only making themselves unhappy when they say that things like entertainment are useless. I think it's deadly serious and very, very important. It's creativity, people. It's art. For all of human history, from cave paintings all the way down to this wonderful place and all the Imagineering and these amazing attractions, all the way down to Star Wars Episode 7, art has inspired people, it has educated people, it has brought joy to people and given them the strength at times to keep going through hardship and adversity. So, believe in the dreamers, believe in your own dreams, believe in the dreamers around you. Take a second look at those losers around you, because they might have something up here and in here that's just a little bit different. Imagine if people hadn't believed in Walt Disney, how different the world would be. Imagine if people hadn't believed in Einstein. Well, we wouldn't have the atomic bomb, but let's skip Einstein. Thomas Edison, all these crazy people. Imagine if people hadn't believed in the guy who came up with penicillin. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just building a theme park. That's not the message here. The message is, believe in the losers around you. Take a second look. Maybe look a little deeper. And consider giving them your love, affection, and support. And if it's you, if you're the dreamer, consider giving yourself a little love, affection, and support. Because I'm sure there were a lot of times where Walt Disney was living on the floor of his office at Laugh-O-Gram, knowing he wasn't going to be able to pay the rent, knowing that he was going to get kicked out of there, eating beans from a can on the floor, and according to legend, sharing them with a little mouse he called Mortimer, where he thought, I'm a loser. I'm going to give up. I'm a loser. Flash forward 40 years later, almost, and he was standing in front of this very castle on these very streets, looking at very, very similar crowds. Hey, maybe there's some of the same people walking by with massive smiles on their faces, enjoying a place like no other place on earth. See, my mind's full of it. I could just keep going around and around and keep talking about this, because it's just such a crazy thing to wrap your head around. And I come here a lot and kind of desensitized at times to the fact that, yeah, I'm just walking through these crowds. Don't bump into me, lady. You know, stuff like that. And you just stop and look around, and other than that screaming child there are a lot of very happy people. Look, love. I scream love happening. Look, there's some love right there. Love is all around us. Now I want to watch love, actually. Anyway, happy birthday, wherever you are. I always say, see, religion is not a thing we discuss, or politics, or sex. You keep that away from the dinner table, and you keep it away from the Sometimes vlogs. So my standard answer is always like, I don't know much about the afterlife because I've never been there. But I like to think that Walt Disney knows about all the joy that he's brought to millions and millions of people. And wherever he is, happy birthday, Walt. There are some of us down here who still believe in the losers and still remember the man who created the fantasy that brought joy to millions. So happy birthday, Walt Disney. And happy Walt Day to all of you. Thank you for watching this Sometimes vlog. Sorry it's a little shaky and crazy. It's crowded here. I didn't have time to build the vlog to scale or to paint it. Check out livefastdiepoor.spreadshirt.com, livefastdiepoor.com, all the other stuff going on. Subscribe for some more Sometimes vlogs. See you guys later. Goodbye. Happy birthday, Walt. And a very merry on birthday to the rest of you.